when people come into the store and they say like, hey, what's good right now? You're not giving me enough. I can list 40 things. Like my first question is, what have you been reading recently that you liked? And if they don't have an answer for that because they don't read comics, what movies or TV shows have you watched recently? Getting a sense of like, what genres do you like or what do you look for in a story can help me narrow it down. So I'm not suggesting things that are going to be an outright no.
In the Midwest, you know the best is there waiting. So come and join the conversation. Eisner approved, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the challenges do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep bringing comics, keep your local store strong. It gets hard and it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with
Patrick Brower.
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 Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
W. Dal Bush.
Dal Bush.
Dal.
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 W. Dal Bush.
1970s Philadelphia. So I'm reaching out to introduce a new memoir titled Maestro, Please by Barry Meinster. It's adapted from memoirs of the same title, chronicling the journey of this person who's adapting their own memoirs. Okay. If it's a fit, we'd be happy to conduct virtual author event information, virtual/author event opportunities with your bookstore. Best regards, Barry Meinster. The email address is barry.meinster@comcast.net. Huh. Okay, he's his own PR team. Why are you portraying yourself as some sort of, like, your own publisher? Is it a graphic novel? It links to a Goodreads page. Let's take a look. So it goes to Barry Meinster's Goodread page, which means you have to then click on, like, books he's read. Maestro, Please, Tale of Lavender and Justice by Barry Meinster. 5 stars, 1 rating. Can you guess who probably rated it?
I think I can. It's a very mindful review. Is it Gary Meinster?
Barry with a B. Barry Meinster. Let me click on the book. It's rated but not reviewed, so we can't tell who actually reviewed it.
Huh. Well, I don't know about you, but it sounds like a perfect fit for our store.
Starting with his memoirs, Maestro, Please, soon to be put onto the screen, Barry has become one of the newest prolific writers for social change.
When you say put onto the screen, that could entail just holding a copy of your self-published book up against your television.
This phone, that's the screen.
Yeah.
After 32 years in education, followed by 24 years as a successful CEO in the corporate world, and seeing his efforts were not making much improvement in solving the world's problems, Barry decided to bring his human services background with his financial expertise along with the 70s optimism to the film industry, hoping a new approach to film will change the world.
So he's
successful CEO for 24 years. Of what? Where?
Right. But also he was a teacher for how many years?
He was a young Jewish teacher in the 1970s Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who grew up in Northeast Philadelphia in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. Instead of joining the Vietnam War as a second lieutenant after graduating from Temple University,
some odd years of doing these two things.
ROTC program.
So he's clearly early in his 70s.
Barry chooses the path of teaching, possessing the look of someone fresh from Woodstock, yet with the charisma of a Marvel superhero. Barry embarks on
his career. Definitely good. It's for us.
At George Washington Elementary School in South Philly. Quickly, Barry wins the hearts of his students, becoming a beloved figure, passionately teaching while nurturing a deep love for the people of South Philadelphia and Philadelphia
way too much
R&B music. His mission, however, surpasses mere academics. Wow.
This reminds me
we get the most amazing email. It's one of the weird benefits of this job. And I'll get into another email a little later. Just the most bonkers emails.
We get so many emails for this podcast where it's people reaching out because they have the perfect guests for our podcast. And it's usually like real estate developers or
guys in marketing,
hedge fund managers, or like marketing. I can give you the slightest of crossover, but it's just people that literally have no concept of what this podcast is. And they're always recommending, because we're a comics industry business podcast, they're recommending businessmen to be on it.
Yeah. So here's the other email that I got that I wanted to talk about because I think it's fantastic. So many of the emails we get are about like our business and how like whatever product or service this company has is going to supercharge our business. But the thing about them these emails is that they never have an awareness of what our business is. They're just like, basically people are using AI. They're aware mass generate emails for anyone who uses a shop.
They're aware that it's undercharged.
Whatever it is, like, you need more charging. So this is somebody, the subject line is regarding, because I guess they sent it before and I tossed it in the garbage. Do a Powerbomb #1 Challengers exclusive cover question.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
we saw that.
Got our attention.
Got a question. Let me hear it.
Who is that bald man doing a swanton off of the middle rope?
Hello, Dal. And this is the original email that I must have deleted, not the follow-up on the whatever. I was just looking through some reviews about the Do a Powerbomb #1 exclusive cover. It seems like comic fans really appreciate the storytelling and art.
Okay. Where are the reviews for our cover?
Yeah, we don't have reviews on our
I've
site.
never seen any of them.
So great. But okay, sure.
Good job of that person for finding them.
I assume that comic fans really do appreciate the storytelling and art.
Sure.
I
We do. That's why we did a cover.
hope this isn't too forward, but if I could help boost repeat buyers for your Do a Powerbomb #1 Challengers exclusive cover by over 40%, which is some small tweaks to your customer journey, or you don't owe a cent, would you be open to me breaking down how we do it? P.S. Over a dozen brands like yours are seeing wins from this, so I'd be happy to show you what's working. So yeah, man, right there, like, if you could get repeat buyers for the same comic book by over 40%,
Yeah.
well, I love it. Most people don't repeat buy the same comic book when they finish reading it. They just buy a different comic book.
Yeah.
So if you've got some special insight into how I could sell the same comic to people multiple times on a recurring basis, shit, like, that would revolutionize the industry. I don't have to carry like 1 or 2 comic books. I wouldn't have to ever get new stuff. I could just have people come in the same time every single week buying more copies of the same books they already own. That makes perfect sense. Or alternately, you are scraping a million websites, finding whatever front page item you can. For example, Do a Powerbomb #1 Challengers exclusive cover.
Wait a minute. That is on our front page.
And then assuming that it's like, oh, this is like a stock item that you're clearly showing on the front page. So people are going to need more of your skin cream, tires, dress shirts, stun guns, whatever you're selling on your
First of all, I would use all of those things.
Sure.
Second of all, we can't have stun guns in Illinois. It's against the...
Well, we're not selling them to people in Illinois. We're selling them online to people all across the country.
Yeah, but we would have to have them to sell them, and we can't have them.
I don't know if that's true or not. This email seems to indicate that they can sell 40% more of whatever we're selling on the front
Sure,
page.
they can sell the same stun gun to the same people over and over, I guess.
I guess.
Well, you got 2 hands, right?
So this is the type of email we get frequently where it's and almost anytime I get this from a company that's promising how their AI technology can eliminate all of our sales department, it's like, well, we don't have that. Or they can eliminate all of the people who are having to spend hours a day answering consumer questions online. And it's like, well, we don't have that really either. But it's just the idea of, so you used AI to do this, and it is horribly inefficient.
Yep. It's so bad at what it does that it's running to us where there's nothing you can do for us because you don't understand what our business is with your AI tools, that the same tools you'd be using for us.
Right. Why would, if you don't even know what you're doing, why would I trust you to do it for me?
Yeah.
So those are a lot of the emails that we get, and they are hilarious in how wasteful they are. It's just like, it's like the phone calls we get where it's someone from Merchant Services.
Yeah.
And it's like, who does this work on? I would never get in a conversation with someone who doesn't know what store we have or what we're doing. And it's like, to change gears, it's like the people who come in and they're like, oh, I want to save you money on your electric bill. Like, you're just cold walking into people on the street. I don't feel like you know what you're doing. I don't feel like you can effectively do your job. This doesn't feel like a scam, but it just feels like someone I don't want to be admitted.
No, and you're pushy because you need to make a sale to make money, and you say that you are a representative of ComEd. No, you're a small company that can broker accounts through ComEd, but automatically that means it's more money.
Yeah, and because you've walked in, now I have to pay attention to you because I think you're a customer, but then I realize you're not, and I can't get out of this because I already treated you like somebody I want to have a conversation with instead of saying like, oh no, shut up, get out.
There was the guy, there was the Merchant Services guy. He was just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, comes in a suit with a clipboard, does the whole, oh, the store is so great.
Oh, wow. How long have you guys been open for? This is great. You know, I used to read blah, blah, blah. Oh, great. Wow. Oh, no, wait. You're not going to buy anything. You just want to sell me something.
Yeah. And then he starts talking about Merchant Services, and you're like, we're not going to switch.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but I can save money. And you're like,
I have all the hardware.
We are not going to switch. You don't you're wasting your time. I don't want to be rude to you.
I don't want to go to
You are wasting my time.
your rehearsed decision tree flowchart to take whatever response somebody could give and turn it back into like, okay, but no, that's not me. Like the answer is no. I don't need an explanation. I don't need a pitch. The answer we're starting at is no. We're done. Like the end.
Good luck on your journey. Your journey takes you elsewhere. Your journey is not through.
Your journey is outside.
Yeah, the new scam that I keep getting, and I got no less than, and I'm not kidding, 20 emails yesterday. Clinical trials. Clinical trials that start at payments of $1,350 and higher.
Wow.
$150.
Quit your job. Just do that.
Clinical trials. Yeah, exactly. I should just do them all. Obviously, I delete all of them. The problem is I also am in a service that looks for like paid research. But the difference is it's like, oh, it's like $50 for a session.
Sure.
And it's usually like either got to go downtown and go into Oak Brook. And you can tell those because it's from like
We're nude.
Smith
It's
Research.
weird.
What?
So many of them are nude. It's weird.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I insist on it. But these clinical trial emails, literally over 20 yesterday.
That's crazy.
Insane. And I noticed this morning that there were a bunch that got caught in the spam folder. Thank God.
No.
But the ones that got through, it's like, how'd you even get through? Yeah, I don't understand any of it. And all it does is take us away from everything we have to do.
It's so much communication, and it's just, it's the idea of, we don't assume you're interested, but we're just sending out so many of these, millions of these emails, that 2 or 3 or 5 or 50 people are bound to bite on this, and that makes it worth doing. And it's like, no, you're just making everyone else, millions of people's inboxes, more of a chore to deal with, in favor of you making 5 sales.
All I could think of is were my dad still alive, he would fall for some of the clinical trial ones. Not all of them, but because he'd want it to be true.
Right, exactly.
Because he'd want the $1,350.
Yeah. It would seem like such a sweet deal that he has to jump on.
And yet you can't explain, like, no, they're all fake.
Mhm.
They're all bad.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about this one? No, they're all bad.
You will never get a good deal in your email. It will never happen.
Yeah.
Let's start from there.
He was obsessed with getting a free Dyson vacuum for filling out a survey, and we had to keep telling him that doesn't exist. It'll never happen. No, but it can't. Like he the next week, like, I got to see that. No, this one I'm going to get this one. I'm like, no, Daddy, it's fake.
Mhm.
But that's why they do it, because as people get older and their minds get less sharp, they
Or as the technology increases, just like the idea, I assume for a lot of people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, is that
the decades, you mean, of course.
they grew up, way before things like email. So they remember when email was just a person wrote you a letter and sent you, and you could read it on a computer. This is amazing. So the idea that, like, no, one, these are sophisticated to semi-sophisticated scams, and the other stuff is it's just mass emails. Like, they don't mean anything. Like, they're just, you ignore them, you delete them, you don't ever open them, you don't click on anything, you don't give them any information.
You've referenced this in previous podcasts, but because we had some business dealings that required electronically signing documents via a DocuSign type of program, you now keep getting these DocuSign scams, and I've gotten a handful as well.
Yep.
Ridiculous. But I mean,
This is the world.
yeah, it is. It's our world.
Mhm.
And I want to thank everybody who wrote in or texted in about the topics that we had asked about previously that we talk about regularly on this podcast.
Yeah, it was
And
pretty helpful.
We put them to use, and I think we did talk in detail about the speech, but just to recap it, what is happening is this very day next week, not this time, but this day,
Yeah, Thursday the 9th, Patrick and I will be
around 7:15 our time.
Central Time, yeah. Next week, from Wednesday the 8th through Sunday the 12th, question mark, Patrick and I will be the guests of Repop at the New York Comic Con in, I think it's New York. And
New York.
Manhattan Island, Thursday night at an event sponsored by Comic Sketch Art. Patrick and I will be Patrick and I will be one of 3 speakers for an industry mixer. We'll be giving a little speech. We've been working on it, sketching it out, as Comic Sketch Art would ask us to. And we feel like we're in a good place with it. we're not 100% locked in on it. And honestly, like, we don't feel like we would ever be 100% locked in.
We are not the two people that are going to memorize a speech.
No, the weird thing about doing the speech at all, like, it felt very easy to say yes to it because the speech is just, we've done them before, and a lot of it is just the same muscle that we use doing the podcast every week. So you do a few hundred episodes of a podcast, and the ability to talk about a topic with another person and the ability to sort of shape that into hopefully something people want to listen to is, if not, fun, it's at least easy. It's something you can do. You don't feel...
It's definitely a skill that we have been shown to have.
Yeah, you don't feel locked up about it. The only difficult thing with this one is that traditionally we've had a better sense of like what's expected of us from the speech. This is very like, you have this amount of time and these are the people you're talking to, figure out what you want to talk about, which is a little harder for us.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you are like even writing songs. It's like, all right, what do you want to say? How are you going to say it? When it becomes say whatever you want, it's like, I think we made this comparison before. It's when artists are doing commissions and the commissioner says, Batman, stop the Joker. No, draw whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Artists are always like,
or to put it more like two different things. One, when people come into the store and they say like, hey, what's good right now? You're not giving me enough. I can list 40 things. Like, my first question is, what have you been reading recently that you liked? And if they don't have an answer for that because they don't read comics, what movies or TV shows have you watched recently? Getting a sense of like, what genres do you like, or what do you look for in a story can help me narrow it down. So I'm not suggesting things that are going to be an outright no.
I like Antiques Roadshow, Love is Blind, and The Traders.
Okay, Lore Olympus. Antiques? Love? What was that other one?
The Traders.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's
fine.
Yeah, all three of those work. Lore Olympus.
What is Laura Olympus?
She's the author. It's about her. It's a memoir.
She's a Philadelphia school
1970s Philadelphia Jewish school teacher. No, so the other thing is, I don't know if these ever make it to the podcast, but the number of podcasts we have that will start with Patrick saying, I don't really have anything for this week.
Yeah.
And then we have an hour-long discussion. So we never let the idea of, we don't really know a way in, get in the way of actually putting something out. Either like, hopefully something that's entertaining, or maybe finding something in the process. So approaching this speech was very much in that direction, where I think we spent like a month kind of not thinking about it and hopefully having something like spark, and then feeling
we've
like
got anecdotes, we've got platitudes, but they live independently of each other.
Essentially, what is the way in on this? And then what is kind of the statement the speech is trying to make? And so we kind of approached it briefly in a like, well, we're kind of doing this because of the podcast, if not explicitly because of it, then because like the podcast has given us a level of prominence in the industry where we know that retailers listen to it. We've gotten responses from other retailers who are aware of it, and publishers maybe know about it.
Thanks to all of you.
Keep reading. So, maybe we try and make it like not a live podcast. We only have like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'd want it to be more direct than what we're doing right now.
And it would take us 15 minutes just to get an intro.
Yeah, just to run up to it. So we thought, we'll reach out to the listeners.
Run on these hips.
And we'll see essentially what are people getting out of the podcast, or what are the things that they feel like the podcast is always talking about, to then maybe see if there's something in there that we can say, okay, well, this is what the identity of the podcast is to listeners. What of that can we shave down into a tight 15? But just doing that helped us like run and they do a dry run on it. And in the back of my head, my thought was like, I don't know if we've got 15 minutes. And then we easily did 17 minutes without really trying too hard, without feeling like we were vamping for time or like doing.
17 was the second run. We did 20 in the first one.
Yeah, but some of that was us doing little digressions of like, this is what we're going to do on stage or whatever. Stage direction stuff.
I don't know how militant they're going to be about the timing. I don't know if someone's going to be giving us the wrap it up symbol, or
I don't think
a giant hook is going to come in from stage left.
Since it's a mixer, like if you were doing a presentation on Industry Day, you are blocked out. There's multiple people coming after you. This is like not even the entirety of the mixer is going to be speakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's plenty of time afterwards. But that said, don't be rude. If they're saying you have 5 to 15 minutes and you're like, all right, 25 minutes it is. Like, you're just pissing people off now.
So the good news for you, dear listener, is that eventually you're going to get to hear that run through probably next week if everything is timed out right. And what's unique about that is that after we recorded it, what the speech has turned into is entirely different.
Yeah. Patrick solicited some feedback, and we
were basically told, hey, here's the things you should talk about off of what you said.
Right. It was someone finding the pearls within what we were doing.
Yeah.
And us going, okay, that's like
we needed that.
Yeah. The dry run, to be clear, was something that we were comfortable with because we're like, oh, we can do this. This is fine. Like it was more of like a confidence builder than anything else. Just saying like, yes, we can come up with something semi-coherent and hopefully something entertaining. And if nothing else, we're good with this. Like it might not be a winner, but it's not going to be anything that either embarrasses us or makes the people who asked us to do it embarrassed for us.
Sure.
But obviously we'd like it to be better if it can be. And we have time and we have the effort to make it better. So Patrick passed it along to a friend of his in the industry, and that friend came back with some very constructive criticism. And a lot of it spoke to things that I think Patrick and I were both independently aware of about the dry run.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, yeah, the ending part kind of just peters out. It doesn't really get where we want it to. Or, you know, this middle section where we're the most engaged with it is kind of what needs to be the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we're like, great. And then we kind of took a little bit of time independently to kind of get our heads right.
Mainly because I had just made dinner. I needed to eat my dinner.
Yeah. And I didn't immediately, I had just gotten off work when we had done this, and I didn't want to keep doing it. I wanted to do some other things for a few minutes just to kind of let my head filter out from what I'd already been doing.
I had a chicken breast with, oh man, I just realized what I did not buy when I was grocery shopping today.
Yeah, what's that?
Steak sauce.
Oh, no.
I ran out of steak sauce last night on my chicken and baked potato.
Okay. But so we did a second run at it, and Patrick sent along to his friend, and we are waiting to hear back if we are moving in the right direction. Even when we finished it, there's stuff in the beginning where I think Patrick and I were both like, that's not the start of the speech.
Right. But it's a good...
Yeah. But if the rest of it works, the beginning is something that he and I can quickly rehearse on our trip to New York.
What I was amazed by, the fact that within a very short time frame, we came up with a completely separate speech without really consulting each other.
No.
And just went with it, and it turned out, I think, well.
Yeah, one of the reasons I think why we would both never have wanted to like write out a speech and, you know, even together writing a speech and then delivering it is like, I don't think that's what we do well.
No,
I don't think we want to overly rehearse. And I think overly rehearsing would make me more anxious about it than just winging it, because I know how, like, if I was doing it myself, I would probably write out something, not word for word, but very much blocked out.
Sure.
But knowing that I'm delivering a speech with Patrick, I know how to talk to a crowd with him. I know how he's gonna approach it and what his energy is, and I know how to.
Very sleepy.
I know angry, and I know how I'm going to fit alongside that and what I bring to it that hopefully will collectively deliver something that people are going to not pay attention to, because that's not why anyone comes to these events.
The first one was...
I just want to stress that right now. No one comes to these events to listen to the speakers talk.
I'm going
Thank you, Rita Pop and Comic Sketch Art, for letting us talk to a crowd. But that's not why anyone comes to these things.
The first version of our speech was very riffy, very setup delivery, very like not written jokes, but very well even-handed, back and forth, bantery.
Yeah, I mean, since we never really had like a take on like what are we saying to the industry, that I think me specifically was like, well, let's just at least make it entertaining, because again, I don't know that anyone's there for like a manifesto. I don't know that anyone's there for here's the 6 things you have to fix the industry.
No, you say that, but I make it a point to go back and listen to every keynote speech from every Comics Pro or everything like this that I can find.
Sure.
Traditionally, they don't record these speeches for this show. So we don't we specifically asked, like, hey, can we listen to previous years? And they said, we don't have them.
Okay. I guess I don't feel like I care. Maybe I'm just projecting that. So the idea was, look, if this is, so again, the schedule is Wednesday is an all industry day. It starts very early. It runs pretty late.
It's a long day for us because we have an early flight and we go right to the convention center for a full day of programming. And the programming is a lot of publishers, a lot of different companies doing like 15 to 30 minute things, presentations.
and you're sitting in a room and it can be kind of exhausting. So that's Wednesday. And then Thursday is the first day of the New York Comic Con.
But also Wednesday after all this, then we have an after event hosted by Lunar.
The Lunar Mixer.
And then we're leaving
8 to 10.
that to go to an after party for Tiny Onion.
Yeah, it's completely a separate thing.
Yeah.
And then, and that's most people's Wednesday is going to be very long days. If you're a retailer or you're a publisher presenting, it's a very long day of programming. And then the start of several days of after parties and industry meetups and dinners with friends and all that sort of stuff. And then Thursday, again, that's the first day of the New York Comic Con. So a lot of people are going to be on the show floor, taking meetings, going to panels, presenting on panels, etc. And then as soon as that's done, then there's the
Muhammad
comic sketch art
mixer.
industry mixer. So in my mind, I'm like, look, people are already, a combination of exhausted, anxious, and drunk. So you need to, like, the crowd for this, I was like, let's just do something where it's like at least fun to listen to. You know what I mean? If nothing else.
Hell, when we talk, it's always fun to listen to.
I wasn't listening. What was that?
Something fun. Something very fun.
So yeah, I was okay with that, but yeah, I certainly, like, if someone's like, no, there's an idea in here that if you stretched it out more, it would be entertaining and also informative. It's like, well, then let's do that.
Well, then the second take was the longer blocks of each of us talking at length,
Mhm.
but it's because we each had anecdotes and a point to get across.
Right.
And one of the things that I'm always wary of when we have to repeat a thing over and over is that the spontaneity goes away
You missed the best lines.
and you forget the line you used that you like.
Yeah, the phrasing that you were really into is now like, how did I say that?
Yes. So you don't want to put too much emphasis on remembering it verbatim.
Yeah, because
But then you risk the chance of not even saying.
right. But the alternative, unfortunately, is like, if you have in your head of like, I gotta nail this line.
Then you're thinking too hard about that and not getting with the natural flow of the conversation.
Yeah, so it just drops in some dumb place instead of like, oh, I built up to it, and that's the first time I said it. It's because I was talking about something, and then my brain made the connection, and I got there. Now it's like I got to reverse engineer, like, what is the way out of the segue to get to where I want to be at the end of this paragraph? And
That's gotta hurt.
that sucks. But that said, like, if we hear
Get my reference?
No.
It's from Seinfeld when George had a line at a movie and everyone laughed at it in the theater.
I don't remember
Then he kept going back to see that same movie to put in that line in the crowd to get
to
reaction.
get the reaction.
Then he'd get angry if somebody like said something else or whatever that cut him off. And he was obsessed with getting out. And his line was, "That's gotta hurt."
Okay, I don't remember that episode.
Obviously, that was not the A plot.
No. But yeah, as far as like the if we get good feedback on the second take, then there's honestly probably a couple of things I'll re-listen to it to be like, how did we do this? What worked? And then maybe keep a couple
Yeah,
notes so that like
I was hoping that you would do a quick little breakdown like you've done in an email form for
I
the first one.
definitely will, but
Yeah.
only once we're locked in with
Okay.
like what it's going to be. We're also doing slides in conjunction with this, and
Oh, yeah.
Patrick has worked on the slides and he's put a ton of effort into it.
And then most of the ones I made were not using it.
And then when I saw that, part of me is like, I would wait to do the slides until we're locked in on the speech, because otherwise you could be building slides for the speech we're not giving anymore. So yeah, it's the same thing with any of the extra work. Like, I will absolutely do that. I will spend as much time as I need to make sure that we have a good prompt for this,
Sure.
but only once we know that we're on the right track. I don't want to do it and then find out I wasted my time on it.
Yeah. And the slides are not integral. They're just something for people to look at as we're saying things.
I think there could be a couple, depending on if this is the one. There's a couple slides that I would suggest of like, I think this is like something
I will
we
take
want
your
to do.
suggestion.
Yeah. Again, like, one of the things I want to do, if this is the right speech, I want to do a little breakdown for both of us to be like this.
Yeah.
Not something we're going to consult during the speech, but just something in the day ahead. We can just remind ourselves like, okay, it goes this, and we're
I am hiring a cue card writer.
I wonder if there's a teleprompter. But then also
Don't trust the one from the UN.
going through that breakdown and then being like, in my mind, it's just as a note to Patrick, these are like the 5 slides I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
and then you do your version of it, whatever that is. So just, I don't need to look over your
We have
shoulder
a
and
massive
just say, this is it.
So I'm putting a lot of pictures up per page on a PowerPoint thing. And I think rather than like when Stephen Colbert used to do The Word, where he would have him talking, and then the split screen would be jokes that came up based off of what he said, or like punchlines or emphasis. And like our slides are not going to be cued to, I say this word and boom, we have a slide. It's like, no, we'll have up to 6 things on a screen that relate to what we're talking about, but we're not in a hurry to cycle through. Like,
I mean, I still want us to be able to control it because there's points where
but I mean,
thing shifts, and it's like I'd like to be able to say like, okay, now we're into this part of the speech, so this should be the slide. Because it's we cannot do it where it's like pre-timed. Like we have no idea how long that section is going to be. This doesn't work. So we would need to be able to control it, and I don't know if we can. We're going to find out.
Who knows?
Yeah, we may have no slides because they might tell us like, oh, there's no manual control for this. Well, it's like, okay,
who knows? I literally have never done a speech that has
a visual component.
Well, on a screen. Usually it's me holding something up.
Sure.
Comic art, comic books, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to the history of us doing presentations, usually it would be like at a library. It's like the history of comic books, or
like in a classroom.
Yeah, and you have a structure, and you have a thing you're going to hold up and show people or pass around or whatever.
And the farthest person away is like maybe 20 feet.
Yeah.
It's not far. It's not a big room.
I also, when pulling out photos for this, refused to show any photos of me pre-beard unless it was for a costume.
Okay.
That's a delineation in time to different eras of the store. And the beardless photos are if I'm, a pirate for Cursed Pirate Girl Day.
Sure.
Or
where it looks like you might have shaved your beard off for the costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like there's 2 different costumes I did where I shaved my head.
Okay.
But I don't know if those are even gonna make it in as much as well.
No, they can't.
I mean,
they have no big love.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the context in this speech?
I have no idea.
Right.
I mean, you could it could have been part of the beginning part.
Kingpin, you could argue more than Bam Bam.
There's a short portion in the beginning currently where we are just kind of giving our bona fides, talking a little bit about the store and, awards we've gotten or things we've done, to at least build in the beginning the idea of like, here's why we're talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, here's why we're up on a stage. Like,
because we are superior humans.
We didn't just swipe a microphone and start talking.
Anyway, it's an honor to be asked to give a keynote address along with Courtney Menard from Tiny Onion and Pornsack Pichtoto from himself.
Yeah, I think
he's an editor.
I think he's currently got the Absolute Green Arrow on the schedule. I think.
Yeah, is that his?
I thought that was announced at San Diego. I hope I'm not wrong on that. If I am, I'm sorry.
Nice, incredible editor when he was at Vertigo, and Infidel and Good Asian are books he's written, and Dead Boy Detectives.
Infidel still works on people. Like that's one.
Oh yeah.
Usually, if I'm in the horror section, like Infidel is one of like the first 3 or 4 books that I would suggest to somebody.
Same.
Then a guy picked it up.
Aaron Campbell.
A guy picked it up recently, and now that guy comes in basically weekly to get another stack of graphic novels because that ended up. He got into that, and then
blowing his tiny mind.
And he got into Tiny Onions.
Blowing his
the children,
onion.
And he's super into it.
Yeah.
And then I
can't believe you're only on 41 of 100.
So then I recommended Exquisite Corpses because I pitched him on that, and he's like, "That sounds great."
Exquisite Corpses is one of your go-tos.
It is, and I think it's an easy book to pitch, and I also think it's a great read.
Yeah. And there'll be some amazing Exquisite Corpses news coming out of probably New York. Who knows?
Hopefully. At some point.
I don't.
From somebody.
I don't know when.
But we're excited.
I know what. I know where.
We're excited about that news.
It's now time to thank our Patreon supporters, including our annual patrons, Usi Arun Singh, Becca Hilburn and Joseph Coco, Bren Helt, Dal's mom Diane Bush, President of the Brian Garside Fan Club, Django Boren, Jose and Genevieve Villagomez, Josh Crowley of Westfield Comics, our bestest wrestling watching pal, Michael Lee, Michael Romanenko, Severio the Cat, our patrons who have created their own tier, Andrew, Drew Troy Aaliyah, Chris Burton, Claudine Neville, our other generous patrons from the Say My Name pledge level, Ben-Hur Benedict Calaguas, Manage Comics Own, Brian Garside, Christopher Haith of Crooked Dog Comics, Drew Triner and Ashley Edwards, Gareth from Monkey Rocks Comics, my brother George Brower, Heidi D., Holly Aitchison, Jacob Sorelli of Kamikaze, Mark Hammond of Oh Yeah Comics, Margie, Keith, Logan, and Malcolm Springham, Matt Armstrong, Mitchell Davies of All-Star Comics in Melbourne, Australia, Morgan Kaiju Perry, Nicholas Fenner, my longtime pal Robert Burns, Ron Payne, Sean Bowers, Tad Eggleston and Johnny Williams, Thomas Nagovin of Century Guild, Walt Grogan, Walt's Comic Shop from Berlin, Germany. And if you want to hear your name thanked on this very podcast once a month, head over to patreon.com/challengers and pledge at the $5 Say My Name level. And a big thank you to all our other patrons at the various other pledge levels.
I don't know what else you had, Patrick, but speaking of the news,
Sure. Go for it.
just announced today. So we are very much in the pre-New York Comic Con publishing news cycle, similar to San Diego Comic Con. While things are announced at the show, a lot of the publishing announcements come out the week before because that's when you can get a little bit more attention on it.
Yeah, more bandwidth.
Yeah, once the show, like San Diego, New York are probably the two big publishing announcement shows for the year. Publishers, big and small, will still announce stuff at smaller shows like C2E2 or MegaCon or WonderCon or other cons. But the big publishing news really stakes out at San Diego Comic-Con and then New York Comic-Con. So what we're getting now, just yesterday, anyone who listens to the podcast or comes to Challengers or runs into either Patrick or I on the street knows that we're huge fans of AEW, All Elite Wrestling. They are a part of the same multimedia conglomerate, not a conglomeration, but the conglomerate, as DC Comics. DC Comics is owned by currently Warner Brothers Discovery. AEW is broadcast on the Warner Brothers Discovery networks like TNT, TBS, and HBO Max. So they've done collaborations and crossovers and stuff before. There were a bunch of AEW comics in the back of several DC books for about 5 weeks.
Quick little origin stories.
Yes. They focused on Will Ospreay, Orange Cassidy, Talon Storm,
Britt Baker,
Swerve, I think maybe. And there is going to be a series of AEW covers as variants to DCKO, starting with Hangman Adam Page and Lobo.
Yep.
On issue 1 of DCKO.
Timeless Tony Storm and Wonder Woman.
I don't know if I saw any other ones. Is it all Dan Mora?
Yeah.
Cool. So they just announced, they being AEW and DC, just announced that they're going to be collaborating on a 2-issue, I think, actual DC AEW comic book miniseries.
Yeah.
They showed off the concept art, which is a wraparound cover by Lucas Meyer, which is basically all of the DC heroes and a whole bunch of AEW wrestlers. Not superstars, mind you, wrestlers, because AEW is where the best wrestle.
This is how we found out about this. A friend and customer, Chris Revican, had sent me a meme where it was the patriarch, Christian Cage, talking to Batman saying, "So Batman, I hear you don't have a father." Which is a good gag. But there was an ad, and it was just a screen cap he sent, but there was an ad under that photo that showed a bunch of DC characters and AEW characters, and the text was cut off.
Right. And so at first when I saw that, I'm like, oh, it must be one of the variant covers they're doing for DKO.
Yeah. But then it's like, no, it's everybody.
Yeah. And it's a wraparound cover. And it's like, you wouldn't do a wraparound cover like this for like issue 2. We know all the issue 1 covers. They're coming in this week.
And at first I thought it was just like those images, but all together in one cover. But I'm like, no, Hangman's in a whole different pose.
Yeah. And you were already picking out like, oh, it's Mercedes. And so we followed the link and we found out,
well, there was no link. We had to Google it.
Yeah, it's true. Okay.
We just Googled AEW and DC Comics, and sure enough, and a variety of all places.
Yeah, there's going to be a panel at the New York Comic Con that was already on the schedule, but it didn't specifically say DC and AEW. It was like
wrestling,
a wrestling superhero thing. And they mentioned AEW when you read the little synopsis of what the panel is going to be, but it wasn't a branded AEW event. If it was, we would have already had it on our schedule because we would, of course, go to that. And then it turned out, no, this is, now that they announced that, now it is a specific
DC AEW panel with Tony Khan, who's going to make it official, John Moxley, Swerve Strickland, I think maybe Timeless Tony Storm,
Orange Cassidy.
yeah,
Harvey.
a whole bunch of people, and it's like, holy shit, this is amazing.
A lot of those wrestlers are already going to be appearing at New York Comic Con at the Pro Wrestling Tees booth.
Yes, like you can meet Orange Cassidy, you can meet Darby,
Yeah,
you can meet
Willow.
Willow.
but not Moxley or Swerve.
Weirdly, RJ City didn't make the cover for this.
Yeah.
Once again, left out of all the
Now we
promotion.
mentioned on the
Typical.
yeah.
So that is one announcement. DC and AEW are going to be collaborating on a 2-issue series where all their characters cross over. The other big announcement was just today, and that's another huge crossover. Maybe not as big.
certainly less characters.
Yeah, it is an announcement for 2026, which I think the DC AEW one as well. Everything that's getting announced this weekend is going to be stuff for like early 2026 because we are in the part of the year where like the next catalogs that'll come out in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
are gonna be
November is for January. Yeah.
So some of the stuff that even got announced in this subsequent announcement are things leading up to it are coming out in January, which is why we kind of have to tell you the whole thing now because you'll figure it out if we don't tell you that in 2026, DC and Marvel are going back to do 2 more team ups.
I wanted to say 2 Mora team ups. We don't know if he's involved.
I'm sure he is. Marvel's is Spider-Man, Superman. DC's is Superman, Spider-Man. No creative teams listed in the same way that when I think the initial announcement came out about like Deadpool, Batman, it was very like, we're doing these, and then you'll find out more later.
I think they gave us Zeb Wells and Capullo, but that was all.
Yeah. And I think they mentioned like, because the next catalog was coming out in like a week or so, on the cover was like Kelly Thompson, Guru Hiru, Chip Zdarsky, Terry Dodson. And so it's like, okay, well, we can figure out like Kelly Thompson and Guru Hiru are probably going to be doing a Jeff and whatever. Chip Zdarsky and Terry Dodson are probably doing something else and so on. But yeah, in 2026, there's going to be another DC Marvel crossover event, 1 DC, 1 Marvel.
They did always say that these 2 were leading into more for next year.
Yeah. And it was
These 2 being Deadpool, Batman, Batman, Deadpool.
And it was clear from looking at a lot of the characters and stories they were using that conspicuous by their absence were characters like Spider-Man and Superman, who didn't appear in either the main story or any of the backups. Feels like somebody would probably want to do a Spider-Man story or a Superman story, which definitely felt like, okay, they know that those characters are coming up. In the same way, if you look real close, you'll have seen that the X-Men don't really show up in any of the crossovers they've been doing outside of like Old Man Logan or whatever.
Yeah.
So expect that a third wave of these will feature the X-Men and probably somebody else. Patrick and I were talking about this before the recording. It feels like it will probably be Justice League. My suspicion is maybe Suicide Squad. Because
Back in the day, it was X-Men Teen Titans because those were their versions of each other.
The 2 most popular books as well. With
But also they were the teenage heroes
Sure.
at the time.
And now I don't
Now
think
there's no crossover really between the two.
I mean, while the Titans are popular, they're not X-Men popular. And I think with Suicide Squad, it kind of feels
X-Men aren't X-Men popular right now.
Well, I think Suicide Squad also fills that Deadpool thing of like, they've been in multiple movies. Like there will be a Peacemaker and Cyclops cover or whatever, and that will make sense to people.
I mean, it should be Peacemaker Deadpool, but we've already had too much Deadpool.
Yeah.
I just meant for irreverence of humor.
Sure. Peacemaker,
Strax.
Peacemaker, Star-Lord.
Yeah, okay.
So in the run-up to Spider-Man, Superman, the first part already kind of came out this past week without them really announcing what it was for, and that's the Spider-Boy facsimile edition that came out from Marvel, which is Superboy and Spider-Man. They'll also, DC will be releasing, I think maybe in January, the second of the Amalgam books, a Spider-Boy team-up with art by Ledron, which is gorgeous. And that was the Spider-Boy issue that introduced their mashup of the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Legion of Superheroes, which I love. And I might actually buy the facsimile edition of. They'll also be, DC and Marvel will be re-releasing facsimile editions of their classic 70s Treasury crossover comics. Those will, I think, also be coming like maybe January. And then dates and creative teams to come on the brand new comic books. But yeah, 2026 is definitely going to see more of the DC Marvel crossovers because it worked really well. I don't know if we've really done much of a post-mortem on the Deadpool Batman that came out, but people keep buying it.
Yeah, we
daily
through all of the variant covers.
Patrick, I had to on the new to order FOC, I ordered the second print.
Wow.
Because even though we have dozens of copies of the first print, at the rate they're selling, we will probably be out by the end of the month.
What's always surprising to me is the number of copies that we're selling via mail order, as if no other stores have this book anymore.
Yeah, and maybe they don't. Again,
Or maybe our optimization is so well now that we're one of the first places that comes up.
Marvel's going back to press on it with a second print, and they'll probably do a third print after that. People had said in the darkest days of the pandemic that what needed to happen to revitalize the industry was for Marvel and DC to team up again. And honest to God, it worked. Like, not just on a like raw money level.
What are you thinking for the second print?
Oh, I don't remember. I think I did less than that.
Okay. Like half less, or
I don't remember. I can look it up.
that's fine. I didn't realize that the FOC already closed for that.
It already closed.
Attention to,
I mean, it honestly might have been like a quarter of that.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mostly because I can probably put more in. I'll look after this.
Okay.
I don't know if I even did half of that because, again, we have so many, but it's like,
You think we have so many?
I know. And that's the thing. I even ordered the second print because it's like, well. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, it worked great. It brought in so many people who are now excited about so many other books. Like, it is the sort of halo effect of people picked up those comics and they bought the Matt Fraction Batman. They're buying Age of Revelation X-Men books. They're picking up Absolute Batman. They are asking about what else is out. They're finding other things.
Because you had us give everybody a QR code for Batman Deadpool, we're getting a ton of signups for that book.
Yeah, and that means that we'll get another bite at the apple in November, not just in the, like, we'll sell people comics, but it'll get them back into the store to find other things to buy. And it's better that time because it's now increasing the idea of this is a place you go to regularly, not just a shop you went to one time to get the thing you wanted and you'll never think about again. It's like, oh no, there's more comics, and I like reading comics. I like getting comic books. It helps that the book itself was really good. I really appreciate Marvel and the creators they worked with and DC's collaboration, I'm sure, in putting together something that was not just a cash grab, that felt like you got your money's worth and then some out of the book. That it was wall to wall a good comic book that you'll want to read or reread or buy more of. That makes you excited about the next one.
Buy more of. I myself, for Deadpool Batman, did the thing I always rail against. I bought
The Thing.
2 covers, literally the thing. I bought the A cover because I'm an A cover guy, Trevor. But then I'm like, well, I'm going to buy Dan Johnson's Thing cover as well.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it, like, I didn't buy any of them.
You're not a fan.
I'm not a fan. I don't like comic books. I would normally, if I was somebody who bought comic books, only ever be the A cover guy. I would not be a guy who would skip around every month getting different covers.
Right, but the Jeff cover.
But since this is a one shot, I probably would have pre-ordered the Jeff Crypto cover by Guru Hero because it's the story inside the book and because it's a cool cover. So it's like, yeah, I probably would have done that.
I'm pretty sure I ordered the hanger cover for DCKO.
Sure.
I'll find out next week when it comes out. Back-to-back killer weeks from DC with Absolute Evil and Justice League Omega Act this week, and then KO next week.
Yeah, I was looking at the front page of our website where we have our New This Week section. The New This Week section is populated for the front page of just the top 5 comics sold for the week. Just copies we've sold in the last 24 hours.
And it's an aggregate. It does it itself.
I don't plug in what books I think it should be. It just says you're sorting it by best selling, and that's based on all sales data we have for those books in store and online. And online at this point is just like subscriber books that we might have invoiced and sold out. I don't know what you're doing.
I needed more of a pause to find that cough later.
Sorry.
So does it change during?
Giving you more of a pause.
Yeah, I saw it, but I was okay. Does it change during?
It's dynamic, so it changes all the time.
Okay.
But looking at it first thing, which means it was just Wednesday, like the top 4 books were all DC books.
Okay.
It was like Absolute Evil, like Absolute Superman, some other Batman. I think Batman was maybe 2. Then Absolute Superman, then Justice League Omega Act, and then Spider-Man Noir. It wasn't even the Age of Revelation overture like I thought it would be. It was just Spider-Man Noir. And that's just the A cover. That's not all covers.
Right. Yeah, of course. I wonder, I mean, we never have the quantity, but I wonder if there's ever been 2 different covers of a book on the list.
I don't think so. Because the B cover would be so much less because most of the subscribers would be the A cover.
Yeah. So many people wanted the David Mack Spider-Man Noir variant cover this week.
Yeah, which we did not get a lot of pre-orders for, so we didn't order it for the shelf. I feel like that was one that after it came out, a lot of Mac fans were like, I got to get that. And now people...
I don't think of David Mack when I think of Noir.
Now the people who are asking about it are just like trying to flip it. Like that's usually, we can usually tell.
Yeah.
Because anyone who was excited about it would have pre-ordered it.
Or if they couldn't find that cover, they'd be like, well, I'll still buy a cover.
Yeah. When it's just like, I literally came to the store just to get the David Mack cover. It's like, oh, you're just hitting every shop in town.
Yeah.
Because this thing goes for like 15 or 20 bucks now. And it's worth it to hit every shop because you can make $15 a book.
We had a subscriber that we had to dump a little bit ago when we talked about it on the podcast a few weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
But we pulled a couple of books that we thought would be worth something on the secondary market.
Yeah, just eyeballing them.
Yeah, including Invincible Presents Battle Beast #1 Blind Bag, because that thing was on fire when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, we sold out in like maybe a day and a half.
Yeah.
And got requests for it afterwards. And you know, it was everywhere as far as people, you know, talking about what books they got. And
they're up to a third print of Battle Beast #1 already.
Oh, man, I think it's higher than that.
Yet,
I think it's like a fifth print.
Yet the blind bag, basically going for cover price.
Yeah, same thing with the first print of issue 1. I looked online, I looked just check at eBay to see like, is this thing going for anything? And the answers were like, not really.
So I'm sad that I hoarded 100 copies of the blind bag.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring them to New York and just hand them out to homeless shelters.
Nice.
Well, it's got plastic. It's good for like water resistance.
One of the first things I remember about, I think our first C2E2 that we exhibited at, maybe as challengers.
It's going to be I know the story. It's also Kirkman related.
Yep.
And it was the second.
Was it? I'm pretty sure it wasn't one I was at.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're not the first couple, but yeah, it was one of the early ones for sure.
Yeah.
But we did bring a selection of new comics.
Well, specifically, we ended up bringing like all of our copies of Thief of Thieves #1.
Right. But I mean, like, they didn't normally do single issues of comics at the show.
I think we had a little display of them.
For this one we did.
Yeah. But
it was not the first one. It was the second one.
Okay. So that one, and it was like the weekend they announced that like it was getting an adaptation. It was optioned. So like all of those sold immediately.
One guy bought the entire stack.
Which was great. Because as it turns out, that book isn't worth anything because I don't know if they ever did a TV show, and if they did, no one remembers it.
But if I recall, we were also blowing it out at like
we were happy to be rid of them.
Yeah.
Those were ordered non-returnable.
Yeah. But he got a hefty discount on them. But again, the book is worth nothing.
Yeah. I'm sure there's copies in, you know, dollar bins if they still do those.
Or $2 bins like we do.
Maybe.
So we both have our must hits for New York Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
My list of artists that I want to meet because I really like.
I didn't really go through Artist Alley. That's the thing. I think we're going to be there for I always go through Artist Alley for C2E2 because our time there is both limited and accounted for. There's a lot of things that you and I specifically have to do for the store, either literally at the show or around the show's experience. So trying to see everything is like, you have to be specific about what you want to do. We're there for 4 days of the show.
Yeah. So plenty of time.
I don't feel like I went through the panel list and like, these are the things to make sure, because those happen at a specific time, but everything else, I'll just go through Artist Alley. Who's there is who's there.
Yeah. One of the most disappointing things for me for my schedule is there's a thing I want to do that is on Saturday afternoon, but it requires a wristband to get to it. And to get the wristband, you have to go to a thing at 10 a.m. Saturday morning. And we weren't going to the show Saturday.
No.
And now I have to be there twice.
Yeah.
Or not do this thing.
Well, maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe the thing that we do the day before is...
For people who don't know this, Challengers is not a store that tries to parlay its prominence or longevity into favors. That's not how Patrick and I operate. We don't want those things. We don't do those things.
We want the same treatment everybody else gets.
Yeah.
But we want that treatment to be fair for everybody.
We want it to be equitable, for sure. However,
I don't know that I want this story to be told.
No, I wasn't going to tell a story. It's not a story. It's just,
okay.
I was just saying with this specific thing, it's something where it's like, this is maybe like the time where you would work levers if you can work levers.
Yeah.
Like, it's not to get special treatment. It's just like, look, maybe you just ask somebody, like, can you help me out? Yeah. If you can't, fine. It's not taking away from anybody else. It's just saying, look, I never asked for anything. This time I'm asking for something.
Right. But it's basically, it would be, hey, I don't want to have to be at the show at 10 a.m. on a day I wasn't planning to be there. Can you hook a brother up?
Yes. with the awareness of like, I'm aware I'm asking for a favor, and I'm aware that favor may not be something you can grant, and that's fine.
But it was also specifically
when at times where we've done things where it's like, no, we do things the right way. We don't ask for special treatment. And then we get to something and it's like, why didn't you ask for special treatment? Why are you here in this place when you could have been doing this other thing by just not even asking, just saying you wanted to do it? We would have wanted you to do it. So, yeah.
Wait, the person that was just speaking, was that like the presenter of the thing or us? It was like the person putting on the thing saying, why didn't you guys?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. What I think we'd be doing is asking for special treatment. And what they would be saying is, I'm a friend of yours, and I would be more than happy to do this thing for you without even having to be asked. You just have to tell me.
We only want to ask for favors when favors are necessary.
Yeah.
There's a couple of like different retailer things. Like they just announced IDW is going to have, is it IDW? Can't remember. Was it Oni? It was Oni. Oni's going to have like a surprise Matt Kent signing for a thing that hasn't been announced yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for retailers only. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, we've met Matt Kent a bunch of times. It's fine. We're not looking to get the freebie thing to get signed.
Yeah, I think there was a thing, like a few different publishers are doing like special retailer. You can meet this creator and get something signed. And it's like, I don't need that. Like
we got an email from a publishing house who said, hey, here's a guy you need to talk to get to this private retailer event for this creator. And we literally said, hey, thanks so much. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah,
it's a situation that we don't need to have for these reasons. So give our turn to somebody else. We're fine.
I had expressed to you my kind of ambivalence about it. And it's something I've seen at other retailer events. And we'll probably see it at something like the Lunar retailer thing or the comic sketch art thing, where there's a line that gets kind of blurred. Like when you're at an industry event, I feel like you need to conduct yourself with not only a level of professionalism, but also an awareness that you are in an industry, that this is a business event. And because retailers are also comics fans, sometimes that line disappears for them when they're meeting a creator and they want to get something signed. And it's like, this is not the time for that. This is not the avenue through which you express your fandom for comics. You should be treating this person as a peer in the industry, not, somebody hero worship or somebody to sign a bunch of books for you because you've been a fan for years or whatever, or God help you to sell them in your shop. Like, that's not what this is for. So I don't like doing that. I would gladly and happily meet creators that I've been a fan of and hopefully have a genuine human conversation with them.
Yeah, but as a peer, not as a
fanboy, or certainly not as somebody, looking for a selfie or looking for, can you sign my copy of whatever? Like, that's not what this is. So yeah, when I see stuff like that, I mean, I understand the value it might have for publishing places to kind of, I don't want to say prey on, but definitely to take advantage of that tendency in retailers that they are also fans and they would love to meet Jim Lee and they'd love to get a Jim Lee poster signed. But it's like, that's not what this should be. That's diminishing what the retailer brings to the table, or kind of for the retail community, making you look a little bad.
I've told this story on the podcast before, but it's many, many years ago. I was at a Capital City trade show, and it was just, it's just for retailers. And Jim Lee was doing a signing, and he was like signing the same thing, like just everyone gets this one print signed or whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'll meet Jim Lee. I've not met Jim Lee. So I wait in line and I get up to Jim Lee, and Jim Lee's in conversation with the person who's sitting next to him at the table. And he signs his little thing and slides it over to me. Doesn't break his conversation.
Not there.
And they're like, I'm done. That was it. And like, I didn't want the thing. I didn't care about the thing. I wanted to meet Jim Lee and be like, hey man, thanks for everything you're doing for retailers in the industry. Mm-hmm. Since then, I've met Jim Lee and talked with Jim Lee and had fine conversation.
Only in Italian. Italian to talk to him. That's so cute.
Molto bene.
Buongiorno.
What was fun was I ran into him at a show like a year later and he remembered my name. But I'm surprised by that.
That's great.
But anyway, that's exactly like, I don't want to be treated as somebody who's just there for the thing.
Yeah, I
never want the thing. Like when people are like, hey, we'll make sure to get you one of these things. Like, we don't care.
Yeah, well, and some of it is also like, if you're at a show and you're a fan, then you're a fan. If you're at a retailer or an industry thing, you're a professional, and you need to like change the gear in your brain to be a professional.
Yeah, well, look, I'm going to be a professional at a thing when I meet Nick Muhammad, but I'm meeting Nick Muhammad because I'm a fan.
Right. Well, you're
He's you're
in
an
industry.
Yeah,
That's a different thing. Same way when you meet, Willow Nightingale or Tony Khan or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you're a fan or you want them to know that you appreciate.
I had such a fun interaction with Willow at C2E2. It was great.
Because she's always smiling, Patrick.
Smile anyway. Everybody dies. Merge those two.
So Lance Archer should team up with Willow Nightingale.
Yep. We told the story before as well, where at
the Nightingale Monsters.
The Murderhawk Smiles. I don't know. We were at a retailer presentation at a retailer event, and it was Brian Hibbs and you and I and Jen Haynes, and Image was given a presentation.
Was it Philip as well?
Was Philip at our table?
I thought he was.
Okay, maybe. But I mean,
if Philip listens to this and realizes he was not part of the story, he can tell us.
I wonder if he was. He wasn't, because it was his company that was giving out the thing.
Okay.
And plus, I think anyway, it was right when a publisher was starting to give away their freebies that you only get at the very end of the night, and that the ballroom just emptied with everybody running to get their free fancy comic.
While at the same time, another speaker was about to go on.
Yeah. Scotty Young was about to go to talk.
This wasn't the end of the night. This was, we are in a middle speech and we're letting you know this is going to happen.
And all of us maybe Jermaine was at our table? I don't know. Everybody at our table was appalled with the way our fellow retailers were treating this whole thing.
Yeah.
And we even talked to the rep from Image the next day, who was legitimately angry about it.
Sure, rightfully so. Because, to be clear, the speaker who's up there, that company, that whoever is speaking in that spot, they paid for that time.
They paid for that time.
For it by your meal.
Yeah.
By the different things that you're enjoying for free as part of this event, is because...
It wasn't free to them.
No. So, like, if you're just going to ignore them, it's like, well, why are we sponsoring this? Why should we help this portion of the industry if this is how we're going to be treated?
And so the publisher who was getting out the book ran out of the book. And so a really great person who worked at that publisher at the time said to us, hey, I'll try to get you one and mail it to you later. And we said, we don't need it.
I mean, I did stop by that table.
Yeah, I mean, you did want it. You did want it.
Well, because
you're a colossal nerd.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't even for me. We did sell it. Like, it helped, the store. We needed the money. We always need the money. But, like, there was another way to do it than just rushing to get it. Like,
right. But also, like,
and it wasn't even just for us. This rep said to multiple retailers, like, look, if you didn't get one, come to our table during the show, because this is pre-show.
Yeah.
And we will work it out. And they did. So this was not a situation that needed some sort of gold rush or whatever. It just, you needed to be considerate about, the rest of the industry instead of just looking out for yourself.
And that's the subject of our speech. Being considerate for the rest of the industry.
Can you just trim this thing down to 15 minutes and then we'll just lip sync along with it?
Yeah, but it's just going to be you talking.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm just going to be nodding.
You can still lip sync along to it. I'll let you have half the lines.
All right, that's fine.
You take the adverbs, I take the adjectives.
I will.
You'll gladly do that.
What do I take?
You take the adverbs.
Wow, that is not what I heard.
Okay, weird.
And I cannot repeat what I heard.
Okay, God.
Well, we're done with that. Thanks for listening.
Keep reading comics.
Next week's episode will probably be late.
But worth it.
But late.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. And help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.